Good afternoon, Huskies, and welcome to January's chilly edition of Husky Headlines.
I'm Sumner Harold.
And I'm Emily Natanova.
As COVID rolls into the new year, so do new solutions.
Abby gives us more information about the new COVID vaccine.
Data from the CDC confirms that due to the coronavirus outbreak, over 20 million U.S. citizens were infected and deaths surpassed over 300,000 just in 2020 alone. Two vaccines with emergency use authorization produced by Pfizer and Moderna are currently being distributed in efforts to control the spread.
The data on the vaccine has been outstanding. They've seen 95% reduction in symptomatic COVID cases. So I think it will be an extremely successful. It's going to take time to get this distributed. We also need to make sure that people get the vaccine. Just having the vaccine available doesn't fix the problem. People getting vaccinated solves the problem. So making sure that we have really good public health education about the safety of the vaccine.
To learn more about the vaccination, Dr. Somni Ariola, Director of Johnson County Health Department, answered questions to further educate our community. Dr. Somni Ariola was unavailable for an on-camera interview, but according to information Dr. Ariola shared, quote, vaccines build up your immunity so you don't get sick, or if you do, it is not as severe. Vaccines also protect others around you and can help reduce the spread of the virus. For us to be able to go back to life as we know, we need to achieve herd immunity, end quote. According to Dr. Ariola, quote, vaccines are the best and least deadly path to achieving this. We will achieve herd immunity when 60 to 90% of us have built a resistance to the virus, end quote. Many people question the effectiveness of the vaccine because of how quickly it was developed and approved, but according to Dr. Ariola, he considers it to be safe. He told us that, quote, research into producing vaccines via messenger RNA has been ongoing for a couple of decades. The overarching idea is to be able to produce safe and effective vaccines quickly. While it has worked as expected, the processes for evaluating the effectiveness and safety were adhered to, end quote. Dr. Ariola went on to add that, quote, the vaccines were tested in multiple phases in thousands of people. While the study is still ongoing, there's enough evidence that they are safe and effective, end quote.
Right now, we know the vaccine prevents symptomatic infections. I would be optimistic that long-term we'll see that these vaccines help decrease transmission in our communities and help allow us to bring our especially larger schools with our older students back together.
According to Dr. Ariola, quote, we need to be patient with the process. There should be enough vaccines for all. Until then, it is essential to follow all COVID guidelines, end quote.
It is important for students to follow the rules and follow the protocols put in place by the district and the health department, because that is the only way that we're going to stop this exponential spread until we can get mass immunizations in place. Students can help keep the school year more stable by following the rules, masking, social distancing, keeping your hands washed.
Moving towards schools being more open and us having more of our old lives back is going to be us hunkering down this winter, making safe choices so that we can keep our local communities safe while we wait for more widespread vaccine distribution.
To learn more about COVID-19 vaccines, you can go to jocohealthdepartment.org to research more about your public safety. Stay healthy, Huskies. This is Abby Allen for Husky Headlines.
Sumner, we're supposed to be anchoring the show.
Sorry, this is my 7th Zoom today, and I'm so overwhelmed with this work I have due tonight.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Kendall tells us more about overcoming the mental health challenges of the pandemic.
Especially during a pandemic, balancing school, work, and extracurricular activities is a lot to manage. It is easy for teens to push aside their mental health and fall into a bad mental space.
Never in anyone's wildest imagination would they have thought that we would have a pandemic that put us all in our homes, withdrawn and secluded.
We're used to going to school every day and seeing our friends and getting the help from teachers that we need. And sometimes teachers are your greatest support systems. And so a lot of us are just kind of stuck in our house with our family. And sometimes family doesn't necessarily understand what you're going through.
According to a survey recently conducted by the CDC in July, 40.9% of participants experienced some sort of mental health repercussions from isolation.
Humans are very social beings. We're not really meant to be alone. We're supposed to talk to other people and be with other people.
Talking to people, trying not to be so isolated and finding ways to still connect is going to be really important.
Another study conducted by the National Institute of Mental Health says that 1 in 4 people have an undiagnosed mental illness that continues to go undiagnosed due to fear of judgment.
The stigma around mental health, I think, comes mostly from misinformation and being uneducated about mental health.
In the coming years, mental health is becoming more relevant and more talked about. And I think that's a wonderful thing because the only way to end the stigma is to talk about it.
It is important to notice the warning signs in a friend who might be struggling with their mental health. If you see any major shifts in their personality, sleeping patterns, or motivation, be sure to talk to them about it and let them know you care.
I think the best thing that you can do to support a friend who is struggling with their mental health is to listen to them.
Verbal confirmation that you're listening to someone is actually really helpful if they're telling you something important.
The best thing that I can advise is to be open and honest with the people that you feel closest to.
If a student is ready to talk to someone about their mental health, finding a time when they're going to have someone's undivided attention.
Talking about your mental health is nothing to be ashamed of. It's important to prioritize your well-being, especially in times like these. This is Kendall Nabraga for Husky Headlines.
With all that is happening in the world these days, inclusion is really important.
So important that this year we have a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee trying to make a difference for all students. Aniela has the story.
Over the past few months, the new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council at Northwest has been working to create an inclusion statement for the school. This council was created after the Blue Valley District created their own Diversity Council in wake of the racial injustice events and protests that occurred last summer.
I came up with the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council at Northwest to kind of mirror the work that the district was doing. And I thought it would be beneficial for Northwest to look at it from the lens of Northwest rather than the lens of the district. The Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee will be made up of staff members, students, and parents, all from within the Blue Valley Northwest community. I'm looking forward to also working with our BSU, our Black Student Union, our GSA, our Gay Student Alliance, and then our diversity group to really look at the different groups of students that make up Blue Valley Northwest.
There is already a Diversity Council at Northwest, which is completely separate from the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. Due to this potential confusion, many individuals may not know about it except for those already working with Presley to make Northwest a more inclusive place.
So my thoughts on the new Diversity Council are positive. I'm very excited for what's going to come with that. I have a feeling we're going to be making more progress in both the administration and the school system when it comes to diversity, discrimination, and racism.
Well, it's pretty obvious of the civil unrest that's been going on in the United States currently, and I think people have just kind of had enough with bigotry or just derogatory language. It's to the point where people are just kind of over it. And it's important to take steps to educate those who have no idea what's going on and may not know the meaning behind what they're saying.
I've had anti-Semitic stuff said to me, transphobic stuff to me, homophobic stuff. I think it's a great first step, the Diversity Council. I don't know how often they meet, but I hope it's often enough, and I'm looking forward to seeing the changes that occur from it.
With feedback coming from students of different activities and backgrounds, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council plans to have the inclusion statement released to the school in the coming months. This is Aniela Cabrera for Husky Headlines.
Hey Sumner, have you ever been thrifting?
Yeah, I actually got this jacket the first time I went.
Grant shows us how thrifting can be both fun and a real money saver.
Thrifting, a new hobby for so many people, is changing the trends and style of this generation. Today, Isabel Carroll and Kimberly Gibson are going to Savers and City Thrift to find new outfits. One more ordinary outfit and one that's more out of their comfort zone. Both Gibson and Carroll have been thrifting for a long time.
So the main reason I got into thrifting is because of musicals and plays that I've been in since kindergarten. And my mom always took me to thrift stores to get the costumes for them.
I've been thrifting for about 2 or 3 years now, but it's really this year I started getting most of my clothes from thrift stores. It's been a lot easier to thrift now because a lot more people, my friends, have been getting into it, so now I have people to go with.
Thrifting has definitely changed my style. I wear a lot more jeans now because they're only $10 at most thrift stores. I've also gotten more creative with outfits by finding more pops of color and different tees and sweaters you couldn't find anywhere else.
It definitely has changed my style. Like, I wear more baggy jeans now, and I really enjoy shopping in the men's section at thrift stores because I can get like a collared shirt to wear like under an oversized sweatshirt.
After having 30 minutes at each store, Carroll got 6 items for $36 and Gibson got 5 items for $40. Here are some of their favorite finds.
So the black turtleneck I bought and the tan corduroy pants that sort of like flare at the bottom, I bought those 2 things to go together, and I wear like a blue oversized t-shirt with it, and I think that's like a really like fashionable outfit.
I bought the blue silky pants because I was looking for more pants that weren't just jeans and were more colorful, so these blue pants were perfect. I was overall just looking for more color since I tend to go for more neutral color clothes, so finding the blue fur coat and bright pink sweater were pretty good finds.
With the new outfits both girls picked out, we decided to do a mock photo shoot with Cole Miller to see just how great an outfit would look despite the price. For the photo shoot, we visited an abandoned gas station to go with the style of the outfits both girls picked out. Thrifting has grown in recent years and is a great way of saving money while still being able to buy stylish clothing. While thrifting might take a little more time and effort to find exactly what you are looking for, it will keep your costs down and your closet full of interesting outfits. This is Grant Bowen for Husky Headlines.
With all the restrictions this year, I wonder how a sport like bowling has been affected.
Aaron informs us of the changes that have been made to the team due to the pandemic.
This year, the bowling team has had to face some new challenges due to COVID.
So the biggest difference will be our practice location. Our district kind of searched around. They thought about main event, but that didn't work out. And the closest bowling alley we can go to is Belton, Missouri for practice. We will actually have more opportunity to practice this season than we've ever had in the past because we're not competing with any other team to use the bowling facilities.
The change in practice location is due to college lanes closing down to high school bowling. Due to this, they've had to make some changes to the team.
It's different because we have like a way smaller team. It's a little less than half of last year because we only have 7 people this year. We had about 16 people last year. On one hand, it does kind of suck that we can't have more people on the team. I'm also happy that it's a bit more close-knit this year. It's just nice to be able to know people on your team more personally.
We're going to be social distancing at the alleys. We're always going to be wearing our masks, and then we're going to try and limit what we borrow from each bowling center. We're going to try and bring our own stuff.
We have 7 meets, so we have a few less meets than we've had in the past. We're traveling a little bit further this year. We'll go to Lansing twice, we'll go to KCK, and then we're a little bit more local for our last couple meets. So the bowlers have to wear a mask at all times unless they're approaching the lane. Then they can pull their mask down below their nose and mouth. But anytime they're not at the lane, they have to have their mask up. Even with all of the frustrations around getting the season started, I'm excited to work with these girls, and I'm hoping that they'll enjoy the season. And I know that for them, it's nice to have something that appears to be normal, and I'm excited to be able to work with them again.
The bowling team will continue to play and practice as the season continues. Their next meet is scheduled for February 4th at Crown Lanes. This is Aaron Tribby for Husky Headlines.
Like bowling, COVID has affected swimming as well.
Mac tells us more about the team's successes despite the challenges this year.
With the swim season in full swing this year, the team has many goals for this season as they are working to make a splash in the EKL.
This year, our goals are really to develop some of our leaders. We have a really good group of senior leaders and a good small group of junior leaders. We're really trying to build those 2 groups up, and then we have a large group of sophomores that are going to need to take up that mantle eventually as well. So it's important that they understand what strong leadership looks like. We obviously want to swim fast. Our guys are going best times and swimming best times in the water. Really what we're looking at is kind of that legacy and building some good longevity and a really strong leadership group, can keep our team strong.
Been just trying to be vocal with underclassmen, just making it to morning workouts even though it's early, and then still swimming hard for practices so we can get ready for the meets. Because
as a senior, you have a leadership position which is sort of inherent with the job, and since I've been swimming for about maybe 10 years of my life, really helps to give them advice on technique, where to be, how to swim, what strokes I think they'd be good at, and just to repeat what the coach's advice.
Like many of the Northwest sports team this year, the swim team has faced many challenges because of COVID-19.
This year has been very different from any of the other years that we've had the swim team here, just because COVID has been difficult to plan around. The other thing that's been really difficult is it's been nice to be able to plan and give the guys some consistency and some understanding of what the season's going to look like in the past. COVID's made that really difficult just because the state is constantly changing rules and their recommendations.
Well, we're still having all the same practices and meets, but for this year it's different because we're having to social distance in the pool, and every time we're out of the pool we got to wear masks, so it's a bit different.
COVID has been pretty bad. We haven't been able to do a lot of the activities that we wanted to. Usually on the swim team we have senior breakfasts or breakfasts with the entire team. We go to people's houses, and because of COVID we haven't really been able to do that. So it's sort of taking away the social aspect of swimming and sort of the fun part, but we still get by and training as is, so we still appreciate what coach has done.
The swim team is now preparing for a swim meet on February 5th. This is Max Smith for Husky Headlines.
Speaking of sports, Over to you, Aaron, with this month's edition of Top 10.
Good afternoon, Northwest. I'm Aaron Tribby, and here's this month's edition of Top 10 Plays. At number 10, we have senior Ben Taylor doing a reverse dive of the swim meet on January 8th versus Olathe East. He would go on to place third in the competition. At number 9, we have senior Ben Fritz blocking a shot off the backboard versus Blue Valley West on January 8th. At number 8, we have freshman Emery Nestor getting 2 strikes with the bowling invitational on January 19th at Park Lanes. Nestor would go on to get the highest series of 428 at the meet earlier this week at KC Bowl. The bowling team won the meet with a team series of 1,354. Number 7, we have junior Haley Newmark with a one-handed driving layup versus Lawrence Free State on December 3rd. At number 6, we have freshman Lainey Douglas scoring 19 points in the game against Blue Valley West on January 8th. The Huskies would get the win, 48-41. At number 5, we have senior Allison Mason making a long-range three-pointer in the game against Lincoln Prep on January 15th. The Huskies would win 84-47. At number 4, we have junior Josh Boxberger, junior Daniel Chen, sophomore DeMarcus Derensberg, and senior David Waxman finishing third in the medley race at Blue Valley Southwest on December 8th. At number 3, we have sophomore Thomas Peterson pinning a Shawnee Mission South wrestler on December 18th. At number 2, we have senior Ben Fritz finishing an alley-oop dunk off an assist from junior Joey Robinson versus Abraham Lincoln on December 11th. Finally, at number 1, we have senior Megan Edwards making the game-winning three-pointer off an assist from sophomore Claire Shukma versus Lawrence Free State. The Huskies would win 44-42. This is Aaron Tribby with the help of Max Smith bringing you this month's edition of Top 10 Plays.
Teachers have had to go through so much craziness this year. They deserve a trophy for all the work that they put in for their students.
Allie tells us more about a Northwest teacher who recently won a prestigious award for the work she is doing.
Each year, the Horizon Award is given to outstanding teachers in their second year of teaching. This year, BVNW's special education teacher Cassidy Evans was one of 32 teachers in the state of Kansas to receive this award.
Honestly, I was pretty surprised when Dr. Presley nominated me. I think that Blue Valley in general as a district kind of breeds outstanding teachers. So not to say that I don't think I did anything, but I do feel like our building and our district does a really good job of supporting teachers. That makes it easy to do great when you're teaching.
She's always thinking of ways to make it better or more fun and more engaging. And I've loved watching that transition for her from supporting students, with unique needs in 102, and then kind of going upstairs and just getting to help students grow academically and creating those individualized plans. She's very observant, she is very hardworking, and she's very creative at finding ways to reach people where they're at. And I think that that's one of the many things that makes her an outstanding teacher and really good with a population that has a lot of unique needs and needs a lot of individualized instruction.
Something that I feel like I do really well is I get to know my students on a really personal level. And so then it's easy for me to try to find out what they need. They feel comfortable to let me know what they need. And I think when you get to know your students, you can truly help them. I feel like that's something that maybe sets me apart.
Despite the difficulty of the past year with the pandemic, Evans continued to provide an education for her students.
Last year, it was pretty unique. And so just to feel like I did okay with such a challenging year for all teachers, and then to have the spin of being at home for fourth quarter, it made me proud of myself.
I am just really, really excited for her. She's very deserving and she works so hard. And so it's always awesome to see a fellow Husky get recognized for being an amazing educator. And she's definitely one of those.
Blue Valley Northwest is proud of Evans and her hard work that led to her receiving this prestigious award. This is Allie Brenneman for Husky Headlines.
Hey, Emily. My car says it needs to be serviced soon. Is there anything I can do at home to get the notification to go away?
I can show you how to deal with your winter car troubles with this month's edition of H2 How To. Whether you are learning to drive or already have your own car, it's important to know how to care for your vehicle and keep it working properly all year round. Today, I will be showing you 3 simple things that you should be checking regularly in your car.
Our first topic is checking and filling your car's engine oil. You're going to need a rag or paper towel, oil if you're running low, and a funnel. Make sure to check your owner's manual to know what type of oil is right for your vehicle. First, make sure your engine is turned off and your car is on level ground. Then open the hood. You need to locate the oil dipstick. It should have an orange or yellow colored ring. Pull out the dipstick and wipe it off with the towel. Stick it back in for a couple of seconds, then remove again. The oil level should be between the maximum and minimum lines. If it is lower, you will need to add more. Before filling, make sure to examine the color and texture. If it is black, gritty, or very runny, it may be a sign that you need an oil change. After you've conducted your check, it's time to fill. Find the oil filler cap. It will look something like this. Open it, insert the funnel, and slowly fill it with oil. Once you have put some in, recheck the level with the dipstick. When you have the correct amount, close the cap and put the dipstick back in its place, and you're done. This is something that should be done monthly. The next thing you should do regularly is check your tire pressure. Especially during the winter time, it's important to keep your tires properly filled so that you don't risk them losing traction or sliding on ice. All you will need is a tire pressure gauge. First, find the recommended PSI for your vehicle. This is a measurement of tire pressure that can be located on a sticker inside the driver's side door. Next, unscrew the tire cap valve, placing it in a safe spot so you don't lose it. Attach your gauge to the opening and push down until it's covered and you don't hear any hissing sounds. Leave it on until the gauge has finished calculating. If the pressure is higher than your car's necessary PSI, allow the tire to lose some air by pushing down on the metal pin inside of the valve and check again until you've got the right number. If it's too low, you will need to fill. This can be done by hand, but you can also find air pumps at gas stations to inflate your tires. Once you've finished, tightly screw the cap back on and check your other tires. This should be done a couple of times a year. Our next topic is windshield wiper fluid. First, make sure to turn off your car and open the hood. You will need to locate your vehicle's windshield wiper fluid container. Every car has a large, brightly colored cap with an image of a windshield on it. Open the lid and carefully pour the fluid into the container until it reaches the fill line. If you do not see a fill line, leave a couple of inches of space from the top of the container. Securely close the cap and you're done. This should be checked every month. To take your vehicle's winter protection further, we recommend that you get a special type of windshield wiper liquid called de-icer fluid. It acts like normal wiper fluid, but also helps prevent the liquid from freezing and has the ability to melt ice on your windshield. Along with this, you can use a de-icer spray to melt ice on your car as well. This is a simple formula that you can purchase at your local store. Keep these de-icer fluids in your vehicle during the cold and you're prepared to take on the winter. And look at that! You've learned 3 simple ways to take care of your vehicle. These basic skills are important to know to keep your car running smoothly, especially in the winter time. Stay safe and warm, Huskies. This is Emily Natanova for Husky Headlines. Hey Sumner, what's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast?
If you would have asked me a few months ago, a butternut donut from Dunkin' Donuts all the way. But after taking a donut tour of Kansas City, I might have to reconsider.
Everyone has had a classic glazed donut from Krispy Kreme, but some may not have had the wedding cake donut from Dop Donuts. Over winter break, we took a donut tour of Kansas City to find some unique donut shops worth trying while you're stuck inside. First up, Duck Donuts on State Line and 127th Street.
We're a made-to-order donut shop, so everything is freshly made. We don't have anything pre-made in cases. Whenever you order, you're going to get a warm, delicious donut. Just the made-to-order concept is a game changer. We can also customize each and every donut. You don't have to choose something that someone's already created. You can choose your own icing, your own drizzle, your own topping. So it's very unique to every single individual. You tried the cinnamon sugar, which is our top bestseller. It's very simple, very basic, just cinnamon sugar. And then the second one you had was the s'mores. So that one has chocolate icing, it has the graham cracker crumbs on it, and marshmallow drizzle. And then you had a strawberry icing with rainbow sprinkles. And then the last one you had the maple bacon. It has maple icing with bacon bits on top. We're just creating this energy and this culture of community and engagement and bringing joy and happiness and uniqueness to just Kansas City in general.
2 members of the Husky Headline staff, Allie and Seth, visited and gave us their thoughts.
I like the cinnamon sugar the most.
I feel like that one's just like
it was
too basic.
But like sometimes a good basic donut is good.
I think the maple bacon was my favorite. I mean, it's got a lot going for it. It's like bacon and like maple. Like what's there not to like about that?
Next up, Hertz Donuts along State Line Road on the south end of Ward Parkway Mall, just 10 minutes away from Duck Donuts.
Honestly, I think it's our variety of different and crazy donuts. You know, we have the sort of thing that you wouldn't find at a regular donut shop, and I think that's what really draws people in. A lot of the different flavors are pretty unique to our shop. I don't think anywhere near the Kansas City area has strawberry cheesecake donut. We have one with nerds on it. The Homer is going to be a fluffy yeast donut dipped in pink icing and then sprinkled with rainbow sprinkles. The Cookie Monster, it's the same sort of yeast ring base dipped in blue icing, and then it's also dipped in Oreos, and we add 2 little sugar eyes on it to make it look like the Cookie Monster. And then of course the blueberry streusel, it's just going to be a blueberry cake donut covered in glaze and then rolled around in streusel.
Definitely the streusel one.
Yeah, I think definitely the blueberry. It's blueberry. I mean, I love blueberry, so.
Yeah, and I personally prefer cake donuts over yeast donuts anyway.
Last up, Dop Donuts in downtown Overland Park.
People like to come here because, it's kid friendly, it's dog friendly, you can bring whoever you want, and you can bring big groups. It's social distance, open air. We have a mural back here, and it's not a food truck because we're, stationary, and I just think it's a cool concept. I think people get excited about that. Our donuts are special because I think we have some pretty cool flavors. Peanut butter, the red velvet, eggnog, and some different ones for the Christmas time, and we also do offer gluten-free as well. I gave you the wedding cake, the red velvet, and the chocolate old fashioned. The chocolate old fashioned, it's an old fashioned that's been glazed and then dipped in chocolate. The red velvet is our top seller because it's just like a glazed donut, except the batter is just red velvet. And then our wedding cake, it's just a cake donut. It's got the vanilla icing on it with some sprinkles.
So I think my favorite is gonna have to be the red velvet. The old fashioned with chocolate stuff on it was okay. It was pretty good, but the red velvet beats it.
I also like the red velvet more, but I think if I was a couple bites into the wedding cake one, that would be my favorite, but the first bite just always takes me off guard. From the red velvet one, you can just go in, just full force.
Since Dop Donuts is fully outside, it was a little cold this time of year, but a fun way to get donuts while following COVID restrictions. You can check out these unique donut shops on your own donut tour. Happy eating! This is Sumner Harold for Husky Headlines.
I can't stop thinking about what a roller coaster ride 2020 was. I even made a list of all the terrible things that happened.
Can you try to keep a positive attitude? Seth gives us a positive 2020 recap.
2020 has been one for the history books, but in spite of the negative things that happened, there were some positive things worth remembering. Welcome to the positive review of 2020. On February 2nd, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers to win Super Bowl 54 with a score of 31-20. The Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes II became the youngest player to ever win an NFL MVP award along with the Super Bowl. At 104 years old, World War II Oregon veteran William Lapshes beats COVID-19 on April 1st. A 101-year-old Spaniard survived the virus along with two 103-year-old women, one from Iran and one from China. With most movie theaters closing due to the ongoing pandemic, the drive-in movie business made a comeback. While the golden days of drive-in movies were back in the 60s, we saw a revival while the pandemic is ongoing. On June 24th, NASA decided to name its Washington, D.C. headquarters after Marilyn W. Jackson. Jackson was the first black female engineer who contributed to the space race. While on the topic of space, SpaceX successfully launched two NASA astronauts, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, into space on May 30th, 2020, to begin the company's first crew mission. While this one technically happened in 2019, it's still a great mention. The movie Parasite, directed by Bong Joon-ho, was awarded Best Picture, becoming the first international film to receive this award. Ho also received Best Director. A huge step was made in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. According to the World Health Organization, the last Ebola patient was discharged, which begins a countdown to the ending of one of the deadliest outbreaks of disease in history. During our nation's toughest times, health organizations were able to get a COVID-19 vaccine approved by the FDA. While the timeline was expedited and is under contention by millions, it was produced and has reached 25 million people around the globe. To wrap up the positive things that happened in 2020, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden's vice president, is the first female Asian African American to hold the vice presidency. She was sworn into office this past week to kick off 2021. This has been Seth Williams giving you the positives of 2020 for Husky Headlines.
And before we close the show today, we want to give a shout out to Shore Ramanujan and Sabrina Yang, who won the 6A Keisha State Debate Championship on Saturday, January 16th.
Northwest hasn't won a state title in debate in over a decade. Way to start 2021 on a high note.
We hope you've enjoyed this month's edition of Husky Headlines.
Until next time,
have a great day, Northwest.